All right. There is no way around it. For the most part, that was pretty rough. That was not, I think, what most of us wanted to see out of Thursday Night Football. I don't think that's what most of us wanted the start of the week to look like for week 2. Okay. There's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot to talk about, both for fantasy football, for NFL, and for, a man's health. So I appreciate y'all being here with me. Do me a favor, hit that like button as today's stream starts. And we are going to go live and just break it all down for you. Let's start with this game itself. All right. So it's technically currently still going, but I refuse to waste any more of my time watching this game. Can you tell I started Tyreek Hill tonight? Is that evident enough in the way I'm speaking? Yeah, started Tyreek Hill. That was in the Flock League. And right now, it's not looking very good. I got 6 points from my best player. So we're not loving life. But we can bounce back. We can recover. Let's talk about this game. We'll start with the Bills. Okay, so Josh Allen. If you started Josh Allen, probably a disappointing game. I think he had, 11 points? Oh, 9. Did he just throw the turn the ball over or something? Okay, well, he has 9 points. You were probably disappointed by that. If you started Keon Coleman, probably disappointed by that. The guy had 1 target. Thank God I didn't start Keon Coleman in any leagues. God is good. If you started Shakira, you were okay. Your life is not completely in shambles. He had 5 targets. That's encouraging to see. Now, the only player you would really be excited to have started tonight from the Buffalo Bills was one James Cook. 3 touchdowns. They all came in the first half. At least the bleeding stopped, okay? If you were playing James Cook, at least the bleeding stopped in the second half, okay? You got something to be grateful for. But 3 touchdowns in the first half. He looked absolutely fantastic. He got that touchdown through the air. The goal line rushing attempt as well. It was not vultured by Josh Allen. So great to see him do his thing. And that is obviously very, very good news. 11 for 78, over 7 yards per carry. Now, as far as Mr. Dalton Kincaid goes, I actually am very encouraged. Guys, I know Dalton Kincaid only had 4 catches. He only had 33 yards. I can totally see how you could take this away as a negative. But again, I want to encourage you to think game script here. Okay? The very first drive, neutral game script, we saw Kincaid as an important part of the offense from day one. Like, from the very first drive, gets a couple targets. Unfortunately, the reality and the nature of this game was that Kincaid was just not necessary. He just was not needed at really any point. This team was up early. They were up often. I mean, if we go back and we look at, we can go play by play and just go by scoring plays. You can see here pretty much from 12 minutes in the second quarter, this team was up with a lead, and it never really ever stopped. They did not need to throw the ball to Dalton Kincaid moving forward. So moving forward, what I'm trying to tell you is if you own Kincaid, I actually thought there were some positive things to take away, even though it wasn't the outcome you would have wanted. Okay, can we all agree on that? Now, moving on to the Dolphins side of the ball, we'll start with the positive. The positive being Devon Achane. We came out on this stream before the game. We had a lot of questions about Devon Achane. And we consistently said, if you have Devon Achane, I have no idea how you would sit this name. If you have Achane, he has to be in your lineup. There is absolutely no way you can sit him. Doesn't matter if he's got an injury that he's dealing with. A guy with that kind of upside, you cannot leave on your bench. So hopefully everybody played him. If you had him, we definitely suggested 2. He ends up with 7 targets again in another game, almost 30 fantasy points, and he touched the ball 29 times. 29 times is by far a career high for Devon Achane. That is very encouraging. You know, they had Jeff Wilson. He did get injured, but they could have used him. They could have used Jalen Wright a little bit more. 29 times he touched the ball in a negative game script. Wow. I mean, Achane is looking like a locked and loaded top 5 name. But, of course, there are some parts of this offense that we need to talk about. So, let's start with Tyreek Hill. Wasn't a good game for him. I don't really think it was his fault. Wasn't a great game for Jalen Waddle. If you started either of these names, you should feel probably sad just like me. I started Tyreek Hill in, you know, some of my most important leagues. I have him everywhere. That was really unfortunate. Let's talk about what you all want to discuss, and obviously that is Tua tags, okay? Tua Tagovailoa gets the bag this offseason, was able to stay healthy last year. We know, obviously, the concussions were an issue a year or so ago. Multiple concussions in 1 year. And then here in this game, if you didn't see it, you know, he did go down with a concussion. You know, the fingers kind of started cramping up as well. You could see there was... The brain was not loving life at that point. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to pretend to know exactly. You know, I'm not going to like sit here and try and digest this with you guys, but we are going to talk about it from like a fantasy football perspective. We don't want to show this too much. I know it's, you know, not everybody wants to watch that. So let's talk about how this impacts fantasy football. Number one, it is a very good sign that he was able to walk off the field. If you guys do remember, the last time he went down with that serious injury, that was versus the Bengals. I don't know if you remember that. They wore their whiteouts for the first time. The good news is he did walk off the field this time. He was not able to walk off the field the last time. You remember he was put in a, you know, they took his helmet off. They had a stretcher come out. So that is at least positive news. He was awake. He was cognizant. He was able to walk himself to the locker room. I know there's been a lot of discourse in our sleeper leagues. We've had a lot of different conversations across all leagues I'm in. Every opinion is out there, from he'll never play football again to why did he go head first to, you know, people saying he can't, you know, that's so much money to walk away from. I don't think it really matters what my opinion is at this very moment. I think what does matter is that Tua is okay. You know, we did see a report that came out where Tua talked about how he did consider retirement at one point during all those concussions that he had. If I was to give you my opinion, and it is 100% pointless at this point, but if I was to give you my opinion and your question was, do you think Tua is going to play again? Like, I'm sorry if this is insensitive, but quite frankly, yes, I think he does. And I could be 100% wrong. You should not be taking any medical advice from me. Of course, this will come down to Tua and his team as well. But yes, I do think he plays football again. At the end of the day, this is something that he loves. At the end of the day, he's getting paid a lot of money to do it. And ultimately, I think, you know, I think he will be back playing the game that he loves. I don't think he'll want to end his career this way. Now, there's a lot of people in our leagues and dynasty leagues and sleeper and everything, and people are, it's a strong opinion from people that this is his last game ever. I personally don't believe that. I don't believe that he will. Now, you can debate whether you think he should or shouldn't continue playing. That's not what I'm here to do. I can't help you if we debate that. It makes no sense for me to help you debate that point right there, okay? So, that's obviously up to Tua. What I will say is taking, like, obviously prayers up to Tua. I hope he's good. I hope he and his family are going to be okay. I'm sure they will. But taking away the emotional side to it all, we do have to think about how this impacts Tyreek Hill. We do have to think about how this impacts for fantasy football. Like, maybe that sounds completely insensitive, but this is a fantasy football channel at the end of the day. So I don't think, if you're asking me the question, will Tua play next week? I don't think he will. I don't think Tua plays next week. You know, again, we have people who think Tua won't play another game in the NFL. I wouldn't go that far. That seems a little too far for me. But I don't think he is going to play next week. So you might see Skylar Thompson next week. It's versus Seattle. This is very upsetting if you have Tyreek Hill. This is very upsetting if you have Jalen Waddle. I mean, you take two guys who have an upside every single week to go for 50 any given day, and you kind of limit that entirely. Now the perspective is different. You're happy if Tyreek Hill gets you 17 points next week. That it's just a different mindset entirely. So it is certainly unfortunate. I wish the best to Tua. I obviously, would love to see him, whatever he enjoys, whatever brings life to him, whatever he likes doing, I would love to see him pursue that. But certainly this is going to impact fantasy football. Now, the only thing I would say, and again, not trying to be insensitive, is I can't fathom why we're leading with our head. I said this in one of my friend group chats, one of our closest group chats, and I just don't understand why you're leading with your head here. You teach a quarterback to slide. I just couldn't fathom that. I didn't get it, especially with all of his history. So, it's ifs, ands, whats, or buts. It doesn't matter at this point. But anyway, I appreciate y'all for being here with me. Do me a massive favor. Go ahead and smash that like button. A very simple way for you to help support this channel. Thinking about Tyreek Hill moving forward. No, we're not going to, drastically move him down rankings. That's silly. I do think Tyreek Hill is still going to be very good. What will be interesting, and I actually haven't even done this yet, is to look at splits when Tyreek has not had Tua tags. That would be some very helpful information for us all to know, I would say. So let's go ahead and log in here. And I just want to quickly look at splits with and without Tua for Tyreek. And we got to remember, when did he join the... Because we don't want these stats to be with and without Mahomes. So when did he join the Dolphins? I'm trying to remember. Was that 3 years ago? When exactly was that? That was 2022 onwards. So let's say 2022 to present, Tyreek Hill with and without Tua. What has he done? So with Tua, he is looking at a 23 points per game score. Without Tua, like I said earlier, that 16-point range, 16, 17 points. So it's only been 4 games. But, on average, he goes from averaging over 111 yards per game to about 75 yards per game. I can't spin this even in a someone who owns Tyreek Hill everywhere. I can't spin this in a light where this is positive for Tyreek. It certainly will impact him. It certainly, if Tua's out for the year, any hopes of Tyreek being the wide receiver one in fantasy football is gone, and that looked like a very high chance earlier. We can go ahead and do the same thing with Jalen Waddle if we'd like. Jalen Waddle in the NFL without Tyreek Hill, or without Tua tags, it's much, much worse. You're looking at an 11 points per game score without Tua. That is almost unstartable in a PPR format, so the upside is so limited. But we've talked about a lot here. Obviously, now the goal is to look at your questions to help you out as much as we possibly can. I see y'all in the chat. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Go ahead and hit that like button to show some love. And we will start answering some questions. Super chats will get answered straight away. Otherwise, I'm going in order. And the first super chat I can see is for Sir Ben Sinnett. He says, for the sake of a human being, he has to stop. Why don't I go ahead and put a poll in the chat for you guys, okay? Should Tua continue to play football? All right? Yes or no? I'm not going to sit here and tell you what he should or shouldn't do, but I know a lot of you guys have a strong opinion on it, and I definitely get why. His life is more important than a game of football. I can get that, but, I also think again, I don't have an agenda either way here, but the only thing I would say is we got to keep in mind that he obviously loves playing football as well. So mental health wise is, does he not want to pursue something that he's pursued his entire life? Does he want it to end this way? So I think you can make a case, both ways. All right, the next super chat here we have is from Demetrios. What's up, Demetrios? Appreciate you, man. He says, dude, I lost Tua and I have Tyreek. Had to pick up Stafford. I have Burrow. What do I do? Sell Tyreek rest of season, Burrow or Stafford? Okay, so Why don't we start with the question that I feel good about, which is Burrow or Stafford? Rest of season, I would still prefer to go Joe Burrow. We got to keep in mind Joe Burrow he did not have T. Higgins last week. He had Jamar Chase on a snap count. And if you look at Joe Burrow's upcoming schedule, it's actually very, very enticing in my opinion. I mean, right now, of course, he's got Kansas City, but right after that, he's got Washington. Right after that, he's got Carolina. So there are some good weeks coming up for Joe Burrow. He should have a chance to bounce back. He's got a Philly game in there. We know their secondary is a little bit suspect. So I would confidently say at this point, we are going to rock with Burrow over Stafford. As far as Tyreek Hill, look, I said this earlier. I have Tyreek Hill. I have him in the Flock League. I'm certainly going to be open to fielding offers. However, I think for the most part, you might just have to hold on to him. I don't think in general we like to panic sell on a guy like Tyreek Hill, a superstar like Tyreek Hill. So in general, I don't think you can sell him right now because clearly everyone's a little bit worried about the situation. But I mean, what names are you going to sell him for? Is someone going to send you, are you going to do Brandon Ayuk? Are you going to take Brandon Ayuk over him right now? Are you going to take Marvin over Tyreek? Are you going to take Malik? Or I think that's the range you're in. I just don't think that's doable. I think you should I can't speak for you, but I would rather just hold Tyreek at this point. All right, another super chat here from Styles. Appreciate you, man. He says, Keon on track to be #1 trending down on Sleeper. Yes, so really interesting back-to-back weeks because in week 1, Keon was the #1 targeted wide receiver in Buffalo, and you had this indication, okay, maybe he is going to be the guy to own moving forward. This week, he has 1 target. Shakir had 5, and to be fair, they didn't really need to throw the ball, so it's tough to really gauge off of this, but not good for anyone out there who's a Keon Coleman truther, I will say that. Next question is from Cameron. He says, shout out for the Achane positive vibes. Anybody who started Achane, you got to be feeling good. If you started Achane, if you started James Cook, you got to be feeling on top of the world right now. You got to be feeling like, you absolutely won the lottery. You had the right scratcher ticket. You're heading into the weekend feeling like a king. Guys like me who started Tyreek Hill, we're not loving life as much. So big shout out to all of the Achane people out there. You guys are killing it right now. We got another super chat here from Julius. Guys, if you want your question to skip the queue, super chat is an option. Where is Julius's question here? He donated. He says, what does this mean for Achane owners? Should we sell high or will he remain a must-play despite quarterback play? Well, funnily enough, I mean, you saw even after Tua left the game, they were still dumping the ball off to Devon Achane. So I still think Devon Achane is a safe play. But yes, clearly his upside is limited. Why do I say that? Because the offense is going to be worse. The offense in Miami will be worse without Tua. Guys, I know he was bad tonight. But you don't put Skylar Thompson in there and expect the offense to be as good or better. It just won't happen. So yes, clearly if Tua... Let's say Tua misses three weeks. It will be bad for Achane, but if Tua comes back, you will be totally fine, and Achane is clearly a league-winning player. Now, if there's a scenario out there, and there's so much to talk about, if Tua decides not to play football again, which I'm definitely not my prediction, then clearly that would hurt this entire offense, and that includes Devon Achane. So, play it by ear. I think right now Achane has an upside that only CMC, Breece Hall, Bijan, and Saquon have in fantasy. So I wouldn't be willing to sell him, but if you can get one of those names, if you can get a Saquon, then yeah, I think you do the pivot, but I just don't think it's possible. All right, we got a super chat here from Ace Takeoff. Appreciate you, Ace. Ace, the helpful hardware store. Appreciate you for the donation, man. He says, hey, I got Caleb, Herbert, Bijan Henry, Jordan Mason. He's got Marv, Flowers, London, J-Mo, Laporta, Goddard. What do you think I should do? It's a start 2 running back and 2 wide receivers with a flex. 2 flexes is what it sounds like. Okay. So it's a good team, man. I mean, Caleb and Herbert's not the best quarterback room, but we'll see what Caleb does in week 2. I like your running backs with Bijan and Henry. The number one thing I would do is start selling Jordan Mason. We have seen some insanely ridiculous moves, some trades that have been sent through on the Flock Fantasy site here on the stream. We have seen some insanely ridiculous trades sent through where people are selling so high on Jordan Mason, and you absolutely should. But yeah, so the number one thing I would say is sell Jordan Mason. I mean, if you look at like some trades that we've seen recently, we've seen people trade Jordan Mason for Brandon Ayuk, for example. We've seen people, and it sounds crazy, but it's true. It's happened. We've seen people trade Jordan Mason for Isaiah Pacheco's of the world, for Josh Jacobs. We've seen people trade him for Malik Neighbors and Chris Olave. So he is like the number one sell high, and it's not because he won't be good this week. He will. It's simply because when CMC's back, he's not a playable name. But overall, I think you got a really good team, man. You had a lot of players who underperformed in week one. Do not panic. I'm begging you, don't panic. We got a super chat here from Michael, and I don't see Michael's question. Let's see. Is there a question here with Michael's super chat? I don't see any question, Michael. Let me know, Michael, if I missed your question, man. You don't have to donate again. Just let me know. I'll be looking for you. Here he is again. Oh, here you are, back to back. Appreciate you, Michael. He says, would you trade Jefferson and Kyren for CMC and Neighbors? I'm worried about the quarterbacks in New York and CMC actually coming back. Would you trade Justin Jefferson, Kyren Williams for Christian McCaffrey and Malik Neighbors? That's a good one. What would the chat do? What would the chat do, guys? That's what I want to know. Would you guys rather have Jefferson and Kyren or CMC and Neighbors? Here's the thing. Like, clearly right now, I would not make this trade. Why? I believe in CMC long term, but we're in week 2. And I want you to think about this, Michael. If you accept this trade right now, you are accepting 2 players that might not play in week 2. That's instantly going to give you a high percentage chance of losing in week 2. Right now, Jefferson's going to play. Kyren's going to play. CMC is most likely not going to play. And Neighbors is dealing with a knee injury. He is the most likely to play of CMC and Neighbors. Neighbors is the most likely to play. But yeah, right now I don't think you can afford to do that. Wins are so important. I just don't think you have the flexibility right now to make that move, Michael. Andrew with a super chat, and most of the chat, by the way, is saying Jefferson and Kyren. Most people are saying Jefferson and Kyren, so most of the people are agreeing with me there. Andrew with the super chat, appreciate you, man. Very, very kind of you. He says, would you, last week I traded away Achane and Smith for Marvin and Ken. Ooh. How bad does that hurt me rest of season? So mad at myself. Damn, Andrew. Last week, as in, is this before week 1? That's tough, man. That's a tough move to have made. Well, look, if Tua is seriously going to be out for a long time, then I think this won't be as bad as, you know, originally intended. But quite frankly, Achane with a healthy Tua is the definition of a league winner. He is the guy that you face every week, and you are more scared than you've ever been to face him. So yeah, not ideal certainly with the way Achane's starting this year. I don't think any of us can tell you it's the ideal trade at this point. Hey guys, appreciate you for dropping a like on the stream. We got a like goal today of 100. Be a friend, smash that like button to show some love. I am answering your questions in order. Super chats obviously get priority. Misfit says Waddle failed me. Should I try and work out a trade? No. Guys, I want you, if you own Tyreek Hill, if you own Jalen Waddle, I want you to think about how you're feeling right now. And I'm saying this as someone who owns Tyreek Hill. How are you feeling? You feel awful. You don't feel good. You feel concerned. How do you think anybody who is trading for those names is going to feel? And what do you think their intentions will be? Their intentions will be to absolutely fleece you. They're going to offer you Ladd McConkey for Jalen Waddle. They're going to offer you Jackson Smith and Jigba for Jalen Waddle. They're going to try and get you to give them Tyreek Hill for Keenan Allen. It's just, this isn't the way we play fantasy football. We don't see an injury and then all of a sudden we decide to panic and sell. It's not how we should play. That's how we want to play if we want to be a worse team come playoff time. So I would not make that trade. Demetrios, what's up, man? Thanks for the donation. I appreciate you. He says, all right. I think he means right out. Hill, Burrow, hand is concerning, though. Totally get it. If you guys don't know, we have seen some clips of Joe Burrow, hovering around the internet. Here's what I would say, Demetrios. You had Matt Stafford as an option. I would start Matt Stafford over Burrow this week. I like Matt Stafford's matchup a little bit better. I feel a little bit better about his situation this week. But, in week 3, Joe Burrow will be everyone's favorite start in week 3. I promise you guys. I'm telling you right here, right now, before week 2 even starts, Sunday games. Tomorrow or next week, all you will see is everyone's favorite quarterback start will be Joe Burrow. I'm promising you. Now is not the time to give up on him, even if he might not be the best start this week, depending on your options. So yeah, I totally get the hand concern though. All right, we got a question here. A super chat from Delanzo. I appreciate you big time. A $20 dono. Very, very kind of you. Far too kind. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the love. And the question here is 12-team PPR, 3 wide receivers, and 2 flex. I'm looking to trade for Kupp. Good luck, brother, because I'm telling you right now, dude, there's nobody in fantasy football that wants to get rid of Cooper Kupp right now. I can tell you this as a Cooper Kupp owner in my home league. I can tell you this in a super flex league I'm trying to trade for Cooper Kupp. If you haven't been on the stream with us the last couple days, I have publicly said that Cooper Kupp is my wide receiver 3 rest of season. If I knew Tua was out for 8 games, just as an example, I'd put Cooper Kupp ahead of Tyreek Hill. He might be my wide receiver 2 moving forward. So, yeah, hopefully that is helpful. But he says, I offered Drake London and Lamar. He needs quarterback badly. My team is Lamar, Baker, Brees, Aaron Jones, Hubbard, Mostert, Evans, London. Okay, you got Andrews too. Got a lot of guys who disappointed week 1, right? With London, Mostert, Addison, who got injured, Andrews. Interesting. So essentially, you're asking, would I accept Cooper Kupp for Drake London and Lamar Jackson? Yes, I would. I would rather stream the quarterback position every week than not have Cooper Kupp. So absolutely, if I can get Cooper Kupp on my team, I would be okay with this. What I would say is I think you can counter and add a name, like a low-level name from his team to your roster in that deal. Does he have a Justin Fields, for example, that you can pick up? Does he have a Matt Stafford? We just talked about a Joe Burrow. Does he got the names like Jackson Smith and Jigba, Deontay Johnson, for example? But overall, I think Cooper Kupp is by far the best player in that deal, and that's where I would be leaning. But, of course, keep in mind, Drake London has a great matchup this week. If you guys have London, this is a huge week. This is really make or break for him. He plays the Eagles. It's a great matchup. So this certainly could be a bounce back. I am going to keep answering your questions. Super chats will get answered straight away. Otherwise, I'm going in order. I just have no water, and I have no co-host. I need to get water. My mouth is killing me. I'll be back literally 1 minute. It's a grind set, people. It's a grind set. We've been talking, making content and live streaming all together probably 6 hours today. Well, we don't stop. All right, answering questions from top to bottom, unless there's a super chat. And the next question is that I can see, guys, is from Jeff Rogers. I'm sorry if you had one earlier. That's the earliest I can see. And Jeff says, DeMarcus Robinson or Pittman Jr.? I'm still going to go Pittman Jr. there. Michael Pittman, had decent amount of targets. They weren't that accurate in week 1. But I am still going to rock with him, the number 1 on a team. Elite says, thanks for telling me to start James Cook. I appreciate it. I got you, brother. I got you. London says, I feel bad for Tua. I hope he considers medically retiring. Like that one Colts player said, I'd rather retire smart than stupid. Yeah, look, I get that. And, has anyone talked about this? Like, why we should be encouraging quarterbacks to wear the Guardian cap, right? Why not? I know it looks silly, but if it's going to save that part of your, your life long term, I don't know. I feel like it's a good idea. All right, we got a super chat from Michael. He is skipping the queue. Appreciate you, Mike. He says, thanks. I thought the same thing earlier, so I declined, but felt a little guilty. First year playing fantasy, and your videos have been so valuable, learning so much. You got yourself a fan for life. I appreciate you, Michael. That's very, very kind of you, man. Yeah, it's cool. We have so many supporters, and there's also so many haters, but the supporters are always louder. It's like the cool thing right now to go on someone's video and comment, "You're not an expert," and do it in like the capital and lowercase letter, like the SpongeBob meme. And I've always told people, I'm not an expert. I'm a fantasy connoisseur. All right. I just spend way too much of my time researching fantasy football. That's all I am. But I appreciate the love. I'm glad we can be helpful. Andrew says, I really got CMC back-to-back years with Achane this year. I love it. Yeah. Joel says, pretty frustrating to have James Cook and playing Achane. Well, Joel, you could have had Tyreek Hill and played Achane. You could have had Jalen Waddle and played Achane or Cook, so it could be worse. Could be worse. Andrew says, last week I traded away Achane. We talked about that. Alan says, to be honest, anyone here upset about fantasy should be worried about Tua's health more than anything. Yep. We talked about that. Let's see here. Kincaid needs more targets. They will come. They didn't need to target him this game. Love it, Darth. Chilled Mind says, started Waddle, so that sucks. I played against Josh Allen. What to do with Waddle now? Well, to be honest, you couldn't have asked for a better game versus Josh Allen if you played him. Like, he had 9 points, 10 points. If you played Josh Allen, you should feel very good that you got a huge free pass this week. Ralph says, I played against Dolphins D and have Khalil. Buddy catches everything. Great pickup. Love it. Opinion on Kincaid. We talked about that earlier in the stream. Hopefully you're able to hear that. Yes, by the way, the role I played, like, I've been playing college football ever since it came out. I'm obsessed with it. And just a little sidebar here. Madden 25, when you play Madden 25 when you've been playing college football for so long, it's like you want to stop playing Madden instantly. Madden feels so boring, so gross, so stale to play. Madden sucks in my opinion. College football is away. Alan says if Tua can't come back, they can go after Ryan Tannehill. Yeah, they could definitely do that. Let's see. Yeah, I will say, Richard, like, beyond like the Tua injury and everything, the play calling was very questionable tonight. Yeah, just so many scenarios before the half. Just in general, it felt like it was like this constant cycle. It was like first down, run, second down, run, third and long, throw the ball. It just felt like that was the game plan the entire game. I don't understand. Michael says, should we trade for Tyreek Hill? So if you want to make the bet that you think Tua will be back in 1 or 2 weeks, go trade for Tyreek Hill. Okay? Go trade for Tyreek Hill if that's the bet you want to make, because it will absolutely pay off. But I can't tell you that. I don't know that anybody can tell you that. I don't even know if Tua could tell you that. Okay? Yeah, that's true. Jalen Wright droppable. Jalen Wright is still a stash in deeper formats. I mean, he looked very good. But the unfortunate reality that we have to face is that before the season, a lot of people were like, well, if Raheem Mostert goes down, Jalen Wright will be a play. Well, Raheem Mostert went down. They still played Jeff Wilson. And they really gave all the work to Achane. So I'd say Jalen Wright is still a stash in a deeper format. But in a smaller 10-man start 7 league, you could probably drop him if you only have like 5 bench spots. Let's see. How do I send a super chat? I think it's just the little money button down in the chat. I feel you, Black Rain. I also have Tyreek Hill, so I definitely understand that pain, brother. Friendly reminder, guys, I am answering questions from the top to the bottom. Super chats do get answered straight away. There is no obligation, obviously, to donate a super chat. Sir Ben Sinnett says, Ryan Tannehill, yes. Let's see. All right, where do these questions actually start here? I love the chat, though. I love that we are talking back and forth. Talked about all of this. We talked about a lot of this. Okay, Clarence. What's up, Clarence? He says, Pittman, Keenan, or Ramondre for my flex. This would be Ramondre for me. Good luck this week. That would be Ramondre for myself. Andrew says, seems like He's always the backup is throwing to Achane, which is good. That's very fair. That's very fair. Tingley says Zay Flowers or Michael Pittman. This week, I would be personally going Michael Pittman. Zay Flowers is a fine option, but I just am personally a little concerned about his usage. His average depth of target is just so low. I said this many times on videos this week, but 5 targets for Jameson Williams in Detroit is worth 11 targets to Zay Flowers, as a Baltimore Raven with the way they use him. So I'm going to go Michael Pittman myself. Good luck. All right, we do get a super chat from Solvable C, so they are jumping the queue with that donation. I appreciate you. Thanks for the support. And they say, Tin Man, full PPR, who should I put in the flex? McConkey, Pickens, Pitts, Singletary. Thanks for the content. The start sits are well presented. I appreciate that. Yeah, we put a lot of effort into those start sits, and it's glad to hear that you guys love them. We've had great feedback, and a lot of you guys don't know, but Badaki is smashing out the graphics. He and his wife are just absolutely incredible graphic designers, and those graphics take so much time and effort to put together. So I just want to take a second and also give him a big shout out. But yeah, these start sit videos, I'm not going to lie, guys, they are a lot to make, because pretty much what you're doing is you're just talking about every matchup, 32 teams, 16 matchups, and you're trying to do it in under 30 minutes. So big shout out to Badaki for making those graphics. We got a great thing going at Fantasyland. Such a good crew. Okay, so the question is, who should I put in the flex? McConkey, Pitts, Pickens, Singletary. Okay, so for me, it's a 10-team league. Kyle Pitts is interesting. I don't like Pickens this week. I was happy to play him last week versus AJ Terrell. I do not want to play him this week because he is facing Pat Surtain. That is not a matchup I want to face at any point. There's a reason Pat Surtain is the #1 paid cornerback in the NFL. That's not a mistake. The other option is McConkey. Now, McConkey seems like a good play versus Carolina. My concern is, will they even need to throw the ball? Based off what we saw last week with the Panthers getting dominated by the Saints, will the Chargers need to throw the ball? That's my concern. And then you got Kyle Pitts, who faces the Eagles. Man, I got to be honest. I think I'm leaning Kyle Pitts here. I'm just thinking game script. I'm just thinking who is the more needed player throughout the rest of the game. And I think Kyle Pitts is my answer. I wish I could say McConkey if it was a more neutral projected game script, but it's currently not. So I would have to go Kyle Pitts there, man. I appreciate the super chat. If you guys want to skip the queue, super chat is an option, just like Solvable C did just there. Otherwise, I am going in order. I appreciate the love, appreciate the support. And the next question that I can personally see in order that's non-super chat is 369. He says, what player should I drop? Zeke, Jason, Waddle, or Wandale, Jeff Wilson. You drop Jeff Wilson. Guys, if Jeff Wilson wasn't playable in this game, he will never be playable in fantasy ever again, probably. It would take an Achane and a Mostert injury. So Jeff Wilson should be completely dropped. If you play in a league where you can drop players and pick up another name, go drop Jeff Wilson like it's hot right here, right now. So, yeah. Darth says, should he play football again? In my opinion, no. Will he play football again? Probably. And checking up on the poll, by the way, 220 of you voted, and it looks like 71% of you said no, Tua shouldn't play again. We'll see. We'll see what he does. John says Najee and Brian Thomas or Ford and Reed rest of season. That would be Najee and Brian Thomas for me. I do love Reed. It's good that Jordan Love's going to come back here soon. But I do think Jerome Ford, he is a temporary fix. We don't think Jerome Ford is going to be someone you can play in the playoffs, for example. All right, we did get a super chat from Michael. So Michael is skipping the queue here with this donation. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for the donation. He says, Dobbins over Kamara this week? No, we are still rocking with Alvin Kamara. I personally cannot sit him. He is a must-play in every format. Yes, he plays the Dallas Cowboys, but he should be heavily targeted in that one, especially if they are coming from behind. Think about what we just saw from Devon Achane. Take away all the efficiency on the ground, but keep in the same usage through the air. You could see something similar for Alvin Kamara here this week versus the Dallas Cowboys. But if you were in a standard league, I would play Dobbins over Kamara, but in a PPR, no, I think you have to play Kamara in that format. I mean, he could go for what, 12 targets? It's certainly possible. All right, catching up with the chat here. I think the next question in order, well, it's a statement from Carlos. He says, dynasty owners with Tua must be worried. Even if he comes back this year, you're going to be worried every time he gets a concussion. Which is fair. I actually just sent a trade to the Tua owner in a dynasty league, so we'll see. We'll see if that goes through. Kish says, I seriously consider dropping Kincaid. I wouldn't drop him, guys. Four targets in a game where they literally never need to throw the ball. That was all game script. No one could have predicted that. No one at all. D Rose says, Amari or Keenan. If you're asking me that question for this week, I would go Keenan Allen if he plays. They're going to face Houston, and Houston's obviously going to be able to score points. Keenan Allen had 11 targets last week. He was the number one targeted player in that offense. He barely dropped a touchdown, so that is going to be Keenan Allen for me. Ian says, hey, bro, Fields, Goff, or Burrow? All right, so that's obviously a question for this week. Justin Fields faces the Denver Broncos. Burrow faces the Kansas City Chiefs, and we've got Goff versus the Bucks. To me, the safest play there is Jared Goff. A couple reasons why. Number one, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers rushing defense is quite strong. You know, the last 3 or 4 years, they've been one of the better rushing defenses in the NFL. I know Brian Robinson got a touchdown last week. I know Jaden Daniels rushed all over them, but I don't think that's an indication of who they are as a defense. The same way I don't think that the Jets are a bad defense because they got beat by San Francisco. So for me, this would be Jared Goff, but it's very, very close. All right, we did get a super chat from Andy. Appreciate you, Andy. He says, trade Marvin Harrison Jr. for Ladd. No, you got to keep Marvin. Got to keep Marvin. This is... No. That feels like a little bit too much of an overreaction, in my opinion. And you are talking to the Ladd guy, okay? I mean, if anybody knows me from the Dynasty channel, I would not stop talking about Ladd McConkey throughout this entire pre-draft process. But no, you don't make this move, okay? We're talking about a guy who was drafted top 5 in the NFL draft. His first game, you know, I think it's way too early to be panicking like that. Now, I get it. The vibes are off, and I could totally be wrong. But what would the chat do? I mean, let me double check I'm not going crazy. But to me, this is a very strong hold for Marvin. I'd love the chat. Tell me right now what you guys would do, and we'll decide on this together. But let's have a look at the next question in order. Thanks for the super chat, Andy. Guys, super chats do get your question prioritized straight away. The next question that I can see here is... Who is next? Joe says, would you pull the trigger on Mason and Pacheco for Barkley? Oh, that's interesting. So you're getting Saquon Barkley there? You know what, Joe? That's interesting. Here's what I would say. Can you counter and get like a useless player on their team in their mind, like a JSN, a Deontay Johnson, Mark Andrews, you know, one of those names, a Jaden Daniels, a Gus Edwards, that range, that would definitely make me say yes. Young L says, wide receiver 1 is Jamar Chase, then Godwin, DJ Moore, or Drake London in the flex. I'm going to go DJ Moore. This is very close. I don't think Keenan Allen is going to play, Rome Odunze. I don't think Rome Odunze is going to play this week. He has been dealing with a knee injury. Andrew says, trade Tyreek and go get Amon-Ra. I mean, yes. I mean, look, if any of you guys can do that in a league, sure, do it. I just don't think there's a league I'm in that would be accepted right now with the concerns around Tua. You know, like I said, you can see throughout the chat, everyone's got an opinion on it right now. Do I think he's going to quit the NFL? No, I don't think he will. But there's a lot of people who do think he will. A lot of people think he won't play again. So with that going around most leagues, I just don't think you can get Amon-Ra St. Brown for him. But if you can, absolutely go do it. All right, we did get a super chat from Ben. Appreciate you, Ben. I don't see a question though. So I'll wait for your question maybe. But thank you for the donation, man. All right, next question in order that's non-super chat. Let's have a look here. H7 says I started Waddle over Neighbors. Well, yeah, I mean, what can you do, man? No one thought that was going to happen, though. Should I start Najee or Brandon Cooks? I do think Najee's probably the safer play with a good matchup. You have to hope for a touchdown. Funnily enough, with both of these guys, you have to hope for a touchdown. But if you have Keenan Allen, I would definitely start Keenan Allen over all those names that you just mentioned. Someone keeps pasting the same message that I think Tua is done. Guys, it's okay to have a different opinion. It's okay. I don't think, like I said, my intuition is that he would not end his career this way, but I know some people think he will. We'll find out. We'll find out. Jesse says, "Hey, looking very handsome today." That's actually a fake account. That's my burner. Big shout out to Jesse. That's just my burner. I put him on. I traded Monty for Stevenson. Was that dumb? I mean, I would prefer Stevenson if it's in a PPR format. If you're playing in a standard league, great. You know, give me Monty. But if you're telling me you're in any league that has half or full PPR, yeah, we're gonna personally go ahead and say we prefer Ramondre ourselves. Abe says, "Do I start Garrett Wilson over Rashee Rice?" Wow. This is, you know, Gabe, this is like Abe, excuse me. This is like the equivalent of asking, do I get a milkshake or do I get a cinnamon roll? They're both great. Why not both? ¿Por qué los dos? Why don't we have both of these guys? But if you were to ask me this week, I would have to put Garrett Wilson slightly higher in my rankings. But that's a tough one, man. That's a real tough one. I mean, I could easily see Rice outscoring him. What's going on with Nico Collins? Nico Collins is fine, guys. He was just sick at practice. I don't think it's anything to worry about. It'd be different if like he popped up with like a calf strain. I'm not trying to cause any PTSD for CMC owners, but calf strain or like a knee issue or, hamstring, that would be different. But for him, it was just an illness. All right. So, he had a little cough, had to get a little Dayquil going, a little Dayquil NyQuil combo. So I think he's going to be just fine. I think he's going to be all right. Muffin Man. I appreciate the donation, man. Very kind of you. He says, traded away Jordan Love and Shakir for Baker. Okay. Is this like... Is this one quarterback? Is this super flex? Look. Would I have done it? No. I would have kept Jordan Love and Shakir. But context is important. For example, are you in a small league? Are you in a start 7, 10-man league? Then I get it. You might not need Shakir. But if you're in a 12-team start 8 or 9, with bye weeks going to come up soon and injuries and whatever, I don't know, man. I don't think I would have made this move. Can you not just stream someone else on the waiver wire? Can you not stream a Justin Fields? Can you not stream a Sam Darnold or Trevor Lawrence or, a Geno Smith, a Derek Carr? I don't know. I'm not obsessed with it personally. I'm not obsessed with it myself. Hey, Josh, brother, we all respect your opinion. It's okay to have a different opinion, bro. Well, you know, we're all going to figure this out as we go, my man. All right? We're all going to figure this out as we go. Fantasy Stock Exchange says, Cutie. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Okay, Ben did drop a super chat, which is great. I appreciate you, Ben. And his question was, screwed up the super chat. It's my first one ever. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. The fact that your first super chat ever, you said, that guy right there, I think he's all right. Let's donate to him. Very kind. Thank you very much. He says, I have to pick two, Najee, Rachaad White, Dobbins, or Stevenson. Najee, Rachaad White, Dobbins, or Stevenson. This is going to be Rachaad White, and this is going to be Ramondre Stevenson. Now, Ben, the only way I would change this answer is if you're in a league that has no PPR, as in a standard no PPR league. If you're in a half or a full PPR, we are going to go with Rachaad White, Ramondre Stevenson. If you're in a league that strictly has no points per reception, then we will go Dobbins, and we will go... Okay, it's half PPR. So then, yeah, I don't have to answer that question then. Yeah, perfect. We will go Rachaad White and Ramondre Stevenson. I appreciate you, man. All right, guys, super chats will be answered straight away. Otherwise, I'm going in order. I appreciate y'all big time. Pedro says, Aaron Rodgers, start or sit. I can't imagine anyone out there who would want to start Aaron Rodgers outside of a Superflex league. I'm going to be 100% real with you. Love Aaron Rodgers, great quarterback, but literally no upside as a rusher, and we haven't seen him be good for fantasy for, a little while. So in his first game back, he had under 10 points in fantasy. You think back to 2022. Guys, in 2022, Aaron Rodgers didn't have a single game over 20 fantasy points. And I'd argue he was on a better team, a better offense. We don't need to get into that argument, but I don't think Aaron Rodgers is a startable name. We got a super chat from Orginson. You are definitely from somewhere in Europe. All right. Anybody who's got that O and it's a slash through it, I'm going to guess where are you from? I'm going to guess. Give me three guesses. There's a lot of countries in Europe. I'm going to say Switzerland, Sweden, Norway, or Denmark. One of those. Tell me if I'm right. All right, but I appreciate the super chat. He says, love your advice. Stick it to Dodd, bro. Yes. Mason made a very questionable trade. I don't understand what he was thinking. But, if you don't know, we do, all of us creators over on the Flock site, we are in a league together. And I still don't understand that trade, but it was fun. I appreciate you, Horenson. I'm definitely saying that wrong. I literally just said whore. I'm so sorry. How do you say your name, dude? Oh my God. Why am I need to be more cultured. You certainly don't come here for professionality, do you? You come here for vibes. I appreciate y'all. All right, we got, again, we are answering questions from top to bottom. Super chats do get answered straight away. Elite Team says, so would you consider trading Mason? I need running backs heavily. My top are Pacheco and Cook. What people would you want me to target? Guys, I can't emphasize this enough. If you have Jordan Mason, shop him around your leagues, because Badaki and I all week on our stream have seen the most ridiculous Jordan Mason trades ever. People are getting Brandon Ayuk. People are getting Rashee Rice. People are getting Isaiah Pacheco. People are getting Josh Jacobs. If you can trade Jordan Mason for any top 24 name at a wide receiver or running back position, you do that in a heartbeat, because it's my wholeheartedly full-time belief that when CMC is back, you can't start Jordan Mason. Therefore, why are people valuing him that way? I don't understand it. I don't get it, but I am, not always that smart, so I could be missing something. All right, we got a super chat here from Zach of All Trades. Appreciate you, man. He says, recently subbed, loving the league vlog, by the way. I dodged an absolute bullet. League mate declined my offer 20 minutes before kickoff. Devonta for Waddle. Oof. Sometimes the fantasy gods shine on your face. And today they did, my friend. Today they did. So you should be very, very grateful for that. All right, we got some people guessing how to say the name Jorgensen. You know what? Jorgensen sounds right. Yeah, Jorgensen sounds right. Yeah, I think you guys are onto something. All right, next question in order is from Delonzo. He says, thanks for helping. You nailed pronouncing my name. No one can say it right. I've probably said it different ways 3 times now, but I hope I'm doing okay. Okay, Runskov. Appreciate the donation, man. Very kind of you. What? I mean, my guy's playing in Super Mario World. What is DKK? My guy has Super Mario Monopoly money. What is DKK? What currency is that? That is the Danish krone. So Danish is Denmark. Hell yeah. I love that. We are worldwide. 305. I appreciate you, bro. He says, I can choose 2 running backs in 1 flex, and I don't know who to run. Saquon, Kamara, Kyren Williams, Ford. For flex, Amari or Flowers. Okay, so we are... I'll be honest, I'm super confident. I'm super confident in this, okay? Saquon, Kamara, Kyren. Done. It's over. Saquon, Kamara, Kyren. You lock it in. You don't think about it for the rest of the weekend. You watch football and you have a fun time with your entire league pretty much losing. Okay? All right. We've got... by the way, I don't know if I offended Jorgensen because he hasn't commented again. I really want to know where he was from. I also called him a whore. So that's probably why he didn't comment again. That's on me. You know, I gotta go to the post-game presser and hold my hands up and say I wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough. It starts with me. London says I could have drafted Achane or Cook in round 3 and took Jacobs instead. Not a great night. That's okay, man. Long season ahead of us. Oh, he said Cali? Oh, he did? All right. It's hard to keep up with the chat. You guys are insanely active, which is great. Oh, he's from Cali. Cali, bro. Hey, bro. Let's smoke a bowl. Yeah, a little sidetrack. Do we have like a Twitter version moment? The first time I tried weed was in California, and I was about to go to a baseball game. You know, tried some weed, and I was so nauseous. I was so nauseous. I thought I was going to throw up. I was not feeling good at all. I felt so nauseous. I had to go back to the hotel, and I got into the shower, and I started spinning in the shower, and I didn't stop. I think I spun for 20 minutes, and in my head, I spun for 3 days. I was asking my wife. I was yelling for her. I said, babe, stop spinning me. Someone help. The world was spinning. Yeah, it wasn't a good experience for me. All right, I gotta find a better way to consume the ganja. Quavon, Sea Breezy. Between week 1 disappointments and the ones from this game, who is the dynasty asset that you think is the most attainable? Ooh, dynasty asset. Roma Dunze. Yes. JJ McCarthy. Yes. That'd be my answer. Is Nico Collins okay? Yes, he's going to be okay. I am telling y'all not to start Calvin Ridley. I'm asking you. Brandon says trade Brian Thomas for Montgomery. Full PPR got Chase, Marvin, Waddle, Amari, and it's a double flex. Yeah. If you can get Montgomery, yeah. And I love Brian Thomas, man. But if you can get Monty, yeah, I think it's worth it. Holden says if Tua doesn't come back, should they try and draft Sanders? I mean, what? Shedeur Sanders is going to be in the postgame, and they're going to be like, so what happened tonight? And he's like, well, my offensive line didn't block for me. They're like, okay, Shedeur, but you threw 5 interceptions. Yeah, no, I get that, but my offensive line didn't block for me. All right, get the Bentley. Let's go. I'm leaving this place. Be better. I want to like Shedeur Sanders, but he does everything in his power to make it not wanting to root for him. Come on, bro. Okay, that's a little rant. Lindo says, be real. If I go 0-2, should I sell my whole team? See, this is what happens every year. We got people who go 0-2, and every year I remind them that in the year 2022, in my home league, I started 1-7, okay? And then I proceeded to win 6 straight games. I was 7-7. I sneaked into the playoffs, and I won every game in the playoffs and became the league champion. It is always my personal life experience where I encourage you, I don't care how many games you have lost, keep playing fantasy football. If you're in a waiver priority league, you will get the best player every week. It doesn't matter if you keep losing. You keep playing the game until you are mathematically eliminated. Do never give up. Don't ever give up. You can do this, baby. All right? This is your year. Trenton says, I dropped right for Marshawn Lloyd. Better pathway. Okay, I can see that. I'm not worried about Dalton Kincaid. You could see early on they were trying to get him involved. Now, the game script just didn't call for it, right? I mean, the game script just didn't call for any Dalton Kincaid past the second quarter. Let James cook. He was great. Josh Allen didn't score much because they never needed him. I think we said 12 minutes into the second quarter, this team had a lead and they never gave it up. They didn't need Josh Allen. They didn't need him at all. And by the way, it also hurts when Tua throws a pick 6. You know, rest up. All right. May he rest. I feel like you have to honor him because he's got a head injury. Respect. T. Higgins or DJ Moore. I'm going DJ Moore this week and rest of season. Tucker Kraft or Okonkwo. Tommy Tickets. My boy Tommy Tickets is digging into his bag. Okonkwo or Kraft? Sheesh. You know what this question is? I'm going to tell you exactly what this question is, my friend. This is our first question of the week that I would say this image is accurate for. This is the question that we just got. What does the chat think? Tucker Kraft or Chig Okonkwo? I don't know. What do our rankings say? I probably am going to go Kraft. Yeah, we'll go Kraft. He outsnapped Luke Musgrave. God, I don't know. Are we thinking Ford or Stevenson? Stevenson, right? Yeah, Stevenson. Chris Godwin or Devonta Smith? That's actually a very good question. I love Godwin this week. But Devonta Smith is playing Atlanta ATL at home on a Monday night. We're going to rock with Devonta. That's close. Daniels or Murray this week? I do have Jaden Daniels one spot ahead. I have Jaden Daniels just one spot ahead of Kyler Murray. I know that might be controversial. Yes, I am a Commanders fan. I like to try and think I keep my bias out of it. I mean, I was not excited about Terry McLaurin at all this year. Didn't draft him anywhere. I feel like I'm not that biased. Pitts are likely. We're going to rock with Kyle Pitts this week, but if you really feel like the ball is rolling with Isaiah Likely and you want to keep going, then keep doing your thing, baby. Hey, guys, appreciate everybody for watching the stream. Obviously, we are all reacting to the sad news of Tua tags with the injury and everything. I'm here to help you. I'm here to answer as many questions as I possibly can. Just want to note that super chats will get answered straight away. Otherwise, I'm going to go in order from top to bottom. I also wanted to note that we had a like goal today of 100. We're 15 likes away. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much for the love and the support. But let's keep rolling through these queues. Is Waddle cooked? Certainly if Tua's out, it's looking rough. I mean, I don't know if you guys were with us earlier, but we looked at splits for Jalen Waddle with and without Tua in his career. It's not been good. All right, this is what we're looking at without Tua in his career in splits without him. Under 11 PPR points. Not ideal. And if you're curious, Tyreek Hill is at about 16 points per game without Tua, about 23 with him. So hopefully, you know, guys, this is just my opinion. I could easily be wrong, and like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not Tua. Ultimately, he's going to make the decision. Quite frankly, my life is not going to change at all whether Tua plays football or not. So I just want you guys to know this. It's just my opinion, okay? But I believe Tua's going to play football again. I think he'll be out this week. I think he'll be out a couple weeks. I think they'll talk about it. It will be the biggest news cycle. But I do think he's going to play football again. So if I believe that, then I think Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are going to be good when you need them. I could be wrong. I know that. I have no idea what's going to happen. All right? But the reality is, let's say Tua doesn't play football again. If you sell Jalen Waddle right now, what are you going to sell him for? Nobody wants Jalen Waddle right now. Everybody knows Tua's injured. What's the benefit to you selling him? What are you going to get? Deontay Johnson? Like, literally, what would be the option if you traded him right now? Keon Coleman? Josh Palmer? Terry McLaurin? I mean, what could you actually get? I just don't think you can. Clarence says, 10-man opinion on my team. Team looks good, Clarence. We don't really do team reviews on the stream. We do them through the Flock Fantasy site. But I think the team looks good. You should feel good about that team. We talked about that a little bit earlier. How low on Pickens this week? I'm not excited about George Pickens this week. I was willing to start him last week. But this week, he faces Pat Surtain. And Pickens is my wide receiver 34. In fact, we did just release a wide receiver start-sit video on the channel if you want to go check that out. So that video just dropped today. Every matchup, we talk about every receiver. So, yeah. And by the way, guys, you know, we get a lot of questions on those start-sit videos where people are like, do I start Brian Thomas or George Pickens? And I just want to let you guys know, my literal rankings are on the video. So, like, if you wanted to know my thoughts, just to let you know, like, they are already in the video if you want to know them. Greg Dortch or Lab McConkey? I'm going to go Lab McConkey this week. If Adunze is on the waiver wire, should I grab him over Adonai Mitchell? Yes, I would personally. Meet the GOAT says, who should I put at flex? J.K. Dobbins, Brian Thomas, Terry McLaurin, or McConkey? Wow. Half PPR, I'm going Dobbins. In fact, I think I'm going Dobbins regardless. That's tough. That honestly, Meep, I could see literally any one of those names outscoring the other. You did get lucky, Zach, of all trades. You did. Yeah, I get it. I definitely get it, guys. Miami should go after Fields or Wilson. Ben K says, I got to pick two. Stevenson, Rashad White, Dobbins, Najee. Can't decide. We are going Stevenson and Rashad. I feel like we answered that same question earlier. I don't know. All right, we got a super chat from Ham. So Ham, the man, is skipping the queue here with this question. If you want to skip the queue, drop a donation like Ham. He says, as a Fins fan, I'd want them to trade for Jameis or Hal. Tua needs to retire. Also, who are you targeting when trading Jordan Mason? Also, Amari or JMO, full PPR. Okay, so totally get it. Totally get it. Now, as far as the Jordan Mason question, you know what I can do for you guys? I think Badaki's watching. Badaki, can you remember can you remember all the trades that we saw for Jordan Mason this week? We saw some crazy ones. We saw someone get Brandon Ayuk for Jordan Mason. But what's great on the Flock Fantasy site is we have the trade finder feature. So I can actually do this. I can look at redraft leagues. I can look at half and full PPR. I can look at only one quarterback if we want. And I can look at, let's look at 10 and 12 man leagues. And let's look at what Jordan Mason has, what trades have happened. These are real trades. We have this database, which is great. We can see all the real trades that have happened. This looks like dynasty trades, to be honest. Someone got Mark Andrews for Jordan Mason. Incredible. That's perfect. Someone got Tank Dell for Jordan Mason. Incredible. That's a 12-team PPR start 7. Go get Tank Dell. Someone got Drake London. Great. Someone got George Pickens. Honestly, I'd rather have Pickens rest of the season. Someone got Drake London, and all they have to do is send Tyler Lockett and Mason. Someone got Jameson Williams. I love that. Perfect. Someone got J.K. Dobbins. I think Dobbins is the better rest of season asset. A lot of people are getting J.K. Dobbins. Someone got Patrick Mahomes. I like it. So those are some of the trades that have happened today. But like I said, we have seen a lot of trades. We've seen Mason for Ayuk, Mason for Ramondre Stevenson, Mason for Tank Dell. Those are all really, really great options, Ham. And then the last question from Ham Super Chat here is Amari or Jameson Williams? Yeah, this is a do you like to party question. It really is. Do you like to party? Because if you like to party, the answer this week is Jameson Williams. But if you want to play it safe, the answer is clearly Amari Cooper, because Amari Cooper is probably going to get more targets than Jameson this week. What can you do with him? That's what we'll have to wait and find out. But my rankings indicate Amari Cooper. But the party side of me, do I like to party? Is my name Rod? Do I like to party? That part of me is like, absolutely, let's go Jameson Williams. So hopefully that is helpful, Ham. All right, appreciate all the donations. Appreciate the support, guys. Super chats do skip the queue. Otherwise, I'm going in order. Love, Josh. Lots of comments here from Josh on Tua. I'm trying to go back and find the fantasy questions here. I appreciate you, Josh. Thanks for being a part of the stream, man. Where is the next question? Individual says, my matchup needs a tight end. He has Njoku. This is his team. Who should I try and pick up? I don't know who's available. Individual, I have no idea who's available on your waiver wire, man. Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is always a fun one just to throw in there and see what happens. Dalton Schultz. Colby Parkinson. Those are some names. Is Godwin and Bowers for Ayuk a bad trade? The best player in this deal is Ayuk by far. But I am a Godwin dude. If you desperately need tight end, I don't hate it, but I am going to keep the Ayuk side of this. Razuk says, I had Josh Allen as a starter, so my points are low. What running backs would you start this week? Saquon, Kamara. Okay, the first three. I think we answered that one in a super chat maybe, but the first three. We did get a super chat here from Blake. All right, we got a lot of currencies from all over the world here. We had someone from Denmark. Okay. We had someone from California. Why did I do that? Where is this currency from? What even is that? I don't even know how to search that on Google. Is that a P or is that a D? First off, wherever you're from, thank you so much for the support. Okay? I always just love to see where people are from all over the world. But let's have a look at the donation. What do you think of Devontae and Waddle for Olave and Marvin? I'd be giving up Devontae and Waddle. You looked at my team the other day. Okay, what do you think of Devontae and Waddle for Olave and Marvin? My friend, if you can sell Jalen Waddle right now and you can get Olave and Marvin, you should get that side in a heartbeat. Okay? Now, I might be misunderstanding that, but just to be very clear, I prefer the Olave and Marvin Harrison Jr. side of that trade by a landslide. Especially after now with Tua, we don't know what's going to happen. Blake said he's from Philippines. Hey, awesome. I dated a girl from the Philippines once. Unfortunately, she told everyone in my life that I broke her heart. So a lot of people hated me for a long time. And to be honest, I was a pretty shit person. I probably did. Shout out to you. Good person. She's actually a great person. I hope she's doing okay. I tell you guys way too much about my personal life. I really do. But yeah, if you can get that deal done for Olave and Marvin, you do that in a heartbeat, man. He says the guy already accepted it. I don't think he watched the game. Oh, no. That's upsetting for them, but great for you. Huge W for you. Look at my chair. You will not get this. Rob with the donation. Appreciate you, Rob. He dropped the donation and he said Ford or McLaurin this week. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a real good one. I think the safer play is Jerome Ford. I think we have to recognize, though, that the Jags defense was very good against the run last week. So they might be a better rush defense than people give them credit for. But as of right now, I think Jerome Ford, just simply for usage and volume, he is a safer play between all those options that you mentioned, that you gave me a option for here. Appreciate the donation, Rob. We got another donation here from Travesty. Travesty says, trade St. Brown for Puka, Deontay Johnson, and a first. Superflex, start 4 wide receivers. Already have 3 firsts next year. Should I get 4 or keep Hammer? Wow, so you get Puka and the first? My question is, where's that first projected to be? I know you can't say. I know we don't know, but is that projected to be an early or is that projected to be in a late first? Mid? And can I turn Deontay Johnson into something else? You know, I know it's only been 1 week, but so far my love for Deontay Johnson does not look good. It does not look reliable. Can that Deontay Johnson be Tajay Spears? Can that Deontay Johnson be Jalen Wright? Can that Deontay Johnson be George Pickens? T. Higgins? Jordan Addison? But overall, I mean, I would find it difficult to say no to that in Dynasty. I mean, Styles says I don't mind that one either. Styles is a pretty sharp Dynasty player. What do you think, Styles? I mean, what does the chat think? A first, Puka, and Deontay Johnson for St. Brown. I think that's enough for me to take the Puka side of that. I think there's enough insulation there with the first round pick. You got a good buffer, I think. Yeah, I think you got a good buffer. And I agree. If you're not competing this year, which is what Styles just said, take it. So, yeah, I like it. All right, we got another super chat from Crooners Live. All right. I traded Tyreek for Wilson and Monty. What do you think? Okay. You traded Tyreek Hill for Garrett Wilson and David Montgomery. My friend, I think if Tua is out for the rest of the year, you will love this trade. I think if Tua is back in week 3 or 4, you will be very upset that you made it. So really the question is, we need to know the future to determine who wins that trade. Because if Tua comes back in week 4, 5, or 6 or whatever, and you still have like wide receiver 1 level Tyreek Hill, then I think you'll regret it. But if Tua is out, for the rest of the year, I definitely think I want the Garrett Wilson Montgomery side. Great question, though. Very good question. All right, guys, I appreciate all the support. I appreciate the super chats, and we are answering questions from top to bottom. Super chats do get prioritized. Crooner says, saying screw it, man. I don't want the risk. I get that. I get that. You know what? I'm going to, just for fun, I'm going to put Tyreek Hill on the trade block in the Flock League. And if I get any trades while I'm live, I promise you guys, I will show you, and I guarantee you they're all going to be horrendous. This is purely just for research. Just for research. I want to show you. Let's see if I get any offers in. All right, I just put Tyreek Hill on the trade block. You can see that in the Flock League. Purely for research, because I have an opinion that you are just going to get terrible trade offers. But I put them up there. And let's see if any offers come through. I appreciate the super chat, man. Appreciate you. And again, I'm doing this for you guys. I'm probably not going to sell Tyreek Hill, but I'm doing this to show you guys what sort of offers you might get. All right, we are going to go to the top. We're answering questions all the way from the top to the bottom. Super chats obviously get prioritized. Otherwise, we go in order. I traded Reed and Pickens for Debo. Overall, I'm fine with that, especially if it's a smaller league. I know Josh is very strong in, saying 2 is done for the year. I think he's pasted that comment maybe 4 or 5 times in the chat, which is totally all right. Goat says Marvin better go nuclear this Sunday since Hill did crappy. Hey, he can, man. He can. Let's see. Keenan might not play. That's true. We got to monitor that. Should I trade Waddle? We talked about this. Hopefully you were here when we talked about it. Andrew says, got offered Marvin for Neighbors, and I have Murray for the stack. If I accept, right? 2 PPR. Bumps London down to my wide receiver 2 and Ridley, Reed, and Coleman at flex. Smash accept. Got offered Marvin for Neighbors, and I have Murray for the stack. So, sorry, this is, to clarify, this is a straight swap. Can you clarify, is this a straight swap Marvin for Neighbors? And can you clarify, is this Dynasty or is this redraft? And I'll be honest with you guys, I have Neighbors ranked higher than Marvin this week. Just this week, not rest of season. One thing that was quite concerning was the lack of separation we saw from Marvin. I'm not sure if you guys were able to watch that game. I'm super curious. I'm actually, just for my own research, I'm going to look at Fantasy Pros data, Fantasy Points data. They released a new feature, receiving separation by coverage. I guess we could look at man maybe. We could look at man and zone. I'm curious to see where he ranked. But yeah, Andrew, can you clarify, is this redraft or dynasty? Because that is a huge question for me. All right, let's have a look at separation score and man. And let's not do like... Okay, yeah, let's have a look. So, man separation score. Where do they have Marvin here? I don't even think he's on the first page. That's concerning. Please tell me Kyle Juszczyk didn't have a better separation rate than Marvin Harrison. Please tell me that's not what's happening right here. Oh, shit. What the... All right, well, look, Deontay Johnson's one of the better separators in the NFL, so, I mean, look at how many good names are down here. I mean, what... We can't take too much from this graphic yet. In the stream. Okay, that's man. How about zone? Surely better versus zone, right? Come on. Come on, Marv. Come on, baby. Look at that, Jameson Williams. Oh, boy. Oh, my gosh. Vindication for my Jameson Williams love. I hate to say it, guys. If Amon-Ra has to die for fantasy for Jameson to live, I'm sorry. I just love Jameson Williams too much. All right, 99th in separation score. Not great, Bob. Not great. It's 1 week. They were double covering him, so I wonder if this is tracked via like GPS data. I wonder how they do this. I'd love to know actually. They call it ASS. Average separation score. Anyway. I'm sure nobody was interested in that outside of me. Do we have an answer from Andrew? No, I don't see one yet. Yeah, Andrew, I just need to know. I just need to know if this is dynasty or or dynasty or redraft. And Honestly, either way, I'm still going to take Marvin here. Yeah. But the context would be helpful. I appreciate the super chat, Andrew. Thank you for the donation. Guys, if you want to skip the queue, super chats are an option. Otherwise, I'm going in order from the top to the bottom. And the next question that I can see is from Goat. We talked about that. Hollywood's on waiver. Should I pick him up? Yeah, why not? Let's see. They won't let him play. Pick 2, Mason, Kenneth Walker, or Connor. So assuming CMC doesn't play, we're going to start Mason. And look, if Ken plays, we'll start him. But I don't think... I mean, it's not looking good right now for old Kenny. So here's what I'll say. If CMC doesn't play, we're going to play Mason, and we're going to play Ken Walker. If Ken Walker doesn't play, we're going to play Mason, and we're going to play Connor. If CMC does play and Ken Walker doesn't, you're screwed. You have to start James Conner. Trade Rachaad White for Josh Jacobs. I'd say that's a pretty close trade, but in PPR, I think Rachaad White is who you'd prefer. Let's see. Sharp if Walker's out or Ridley. Charbonnet for me. Pedros, what's up, man? Hey, for week 2, T. Higgins or DJ Moore? We're going to rock with DJ Moore. All of the media is calling for his retirement. Yeah, I mean, friendly reminder, guys. I remember the last time this happened, the media did the same thing. I don't think the media is going to have an impact on this decision, personally. You could definitely make a case. Other outside factors could have a big part to play in this decision, but I don't think the media, like, that, this was all we talked about the first time it happened for months. Caleb or Burrow. This week, I'm going to go Joe Burrow. Traded Rachaad White for Josh Jacobs. Is that a dumb move? No, I don't think that's a dumb move. Bucky Irving did look good last week. Yes, he did. Mason says Joe Burrow or Baker Mayfield this week. Last week, I asked Joe, Caleb, and that was terrible. Yeah, I'm going to go Baker Mayfield this week. Actually, you know what's funny, Mason, is I'm literally in the same exact scenario. Funnily enough, in the Flock League... Oh, let's see. Did I get an offer? Is Danny watching the stream still? I think this is a troll offer. Yes. Okay. So there's our first official offer for Tyreek Hill. We get Danny's favorite running back, Trey Benson, who was a league winner, remember? So we have to take this seriously. And $69 a fab. No, I'm pretty sure Danny's still watching. I'm pretty sure he's still watching. But no, of course we're not accepting that. He knows that. He's just joking. Yeah, so the reason I was showing the Flock League was because I was going to show you my matchup this week. And I am currently struggling with this same question. So right now we're choosing between Joe Burrow and we're choosing between Baker Mayfield. Honestly, I love Baker's situation a little bit better. First off, he has both of his receivers healthy, and Godwin and Evans. McMillan looks like that dude. I love him. And he plays Detroit. Detroit is vulnerable through the air, and they're going to score points against this Tampa Bay defense, so it could be really fun. Joe Burrow is... The risk is a little concerning. T. Higgins won't play. Kansas City's defense is legit. So, you know, that's that's tough. Basically, this is what's happened, okay? This is what happened. Joe Burrow is Mountain Dew. And Mountain Dew is full price at Walmart. We're sitting here, how much is it now with inflation? $4.99 for, you know, you guys don't do liters. You do, what's the measurement you guys use? I forget. Is it ounces? 2 liters. You do liters. Yeah, 2 liters. The 2-liter bottle. All right. Joe Burrow is Mountain Dew, full price at Walmart. But you got Baker Mayfield on the shelf. We're calling Mountain Shoutin'. On sale for $1.99. That's the situation you're in right now. Mountain Shoutin'. Y'all know Mountain Shoutin'? I mean, if you know Mountain Shoutin', you grew up like me. All right. Your mom and dad were just, you know, putting pennies together. They were making it work. Hard working, the backbone of America. All right. That's really what you're working with right now. That's the question you have to ask yourself. You like Mountain Dew. You know Mountain Dew. There's a name brand there. That's Joe Burrow. But Joe Burrow's full price. That boy's $5.99. But you got Mountain Shoutin' on sale for $1.99. Do you want to save money? Do you want to, make good decisions? Because the good decision is probably Baker Mayfield. But man, the name brand, the Mountain Dew, the advertisements they put out. So that's a tough one. I don't have a good answer for you right now. I'll say this. If I had to decide right now today, I'm probably throwing Baker Mayfield in there. I'll be honest with you, Mason. I'll be honest with you. Okay. We did get a super chat from Timo Biz, the best in the biz. Appreciate the donation, man. He is skipping the queue with that dono. He says, I have CMC, Jacobs, Ken, Stevenson, and Zach Moss. Is there a second part of this question? Or, let me know, Timo. Let me know. Am I missing... Did we have a convo earlier about your team, maybe? Well, great running back room. I'll be looking for your comment, Timo. Oh, who to start? How many can I start, Timo? Timo said my running backs rule. Timo's just flexing. How many can we start, brother? We're starting CMC if he plays. We're starting Jacobs. So here's the deal. You got two guys that we don't know if they're going to play. CMC likely not to play. Ken Walker right now hasn't practiced. Not looking good for his availability this Sunday. If everyone was healthy, I would rank them in order. CMC, Walker, Jacobs, Stevenson. With everyone not healthy, let's assume CMC isn't playing. We'll go Kenneth Walker, Jacob Stevenson. In the event that both Ken Walker and CMC don't play, your answer is already made for you. Jacobs, Stevenson, and Zach Moss. I hope that was helpful, Timo, and I appreciate the donation, my friend. Very, very kind of you. Very, very kind of you. What time is it in America? Why are y'all still up? What time is it? You guys should be going to bed. Time in New York. Oh, wow. It's almost 1 a.m. What the what is happening? Sorry. Okay. Appreciate the donation. I'm a mess. Frank. Appreciate you, Frank. Big shout out to Frankie. He says, trade Waddle for Jaden Daniels. Lost Tua. Man, I'll tell you what. I'll say this. If Tua is out for the year, you will absolutely want Jaden Daniels in this trade. If Tua's out for the next 2 weeks only, you will absolutely regret losing Jalen Waddle. So personally, I would rather hold Jalen Waddle and just play the waiver wire. If you're telling me your waiver wire has a Baker Mayfield, a Matt Stafford, we are playing the waiver wire. Let me know if that is the case. All right. Appreciate y'all. All right. Thanks for the super chat, Frank. Super chats do get answered straight away. Otherwise, I'm going in order. And the next question that I can see in order... by the way, Danny is still with us. I love it, Danny. He says, looks gas. Great trade offer for you in the inbox. I love it. I love it, Danny. Danny's got an alter ego on the Flock League. When he puts that helmet on, he becomes a different man. Guy says, do we still like Richardson over Goff this week? Yes. Guy says, also really love the content. 50K next. Hell yeah. Honestly, 25 is crazy. So thinking about 50 would be nutty. But yeah, I think we can do it. I think we can do it. Probably not this year. I mean, that might be too lofty of an expectation. But next year. Okay. With Tua out, do you trade for Mayfield or pick up Rodgers, Cousins, or Fields? Just get Fields. Don't trade for Baker. Just go get Justin Fields. I love his matchup this week. Kevin says, what's up, Zach? Didn't see the whole game, but heard what happened to Tua. God bless him. He might really need to take a look at life and consider his health over football. Yes, totally. You know, I get it, guys. I totally get it. I think the initial reaction from all of us is probably, oh my gosh, this guy needs to prioritize his life. My question to you guys is, I get how that part of his health is important, but I also imagine mental health is very important as well. I don't know, like, I'm only speaking this for me. Maybe I'm too prideful. I don't know if I could go out like that. I know my entire family would be in my ear. I know they would be like, you can't do this to it. You got to think about your health. But I think I would have a moment where I would tell my family, I'm sorry, I can't let that be the end of my legacy. And maybe that's too prideful. Maybe that's stupid to say. I just don't think I could end it like that. I think my mental health would take a huge hit. So anyway. Are any Packers viable under Malik Willis? I have Reed and Jacobs. Yeah, I've been saying all week I don't want to start Jaden Reed. I still don't want to start any of those wide receivers, but I am willing to start Josh Jacobs. Just simply because, like, quite frankly, just simply because he's going to get a lot of work. You know, he's going to get so many opportunities. My Discord is going off the rails. I want to make sure nothing crazy went down. Okay. Josh says, I'm a retired pro MMA fighter, and I know one of the lawyers who represents Mike Webster in the case against the NFL. So Mike's got some secret intel. He's got some intel on the situation. Rodgers or Stafford? I'm going to go Stafford. Josh says, my pro fighting career world lasted longer, if not for growing up playing 12 years of tackle football. That's fair. Let's see. Josh, okay, I would never let my kids play tackle football, Josh says. All right, what's the next fantasy question here? Stafford or Burrow? I would be going Stafford. I would be going Stafford versus the Cardinals. Started Cook, but also had Coleman in. That's painful. Dropped Buffalo's D today for the Chargers. Yeah, that is unfortunate. No one could have predicted such a terrible game for them. D Rose says Stafford or Rodgers for the future. Also, how do you feel about Amari against the Jags? I'd be going Stafford here, and then Amari against the Jags. I have low expectations just because the offense doesn't look in sync, but the reality is with Amari Cooper, he could score, he could score 30 any given day. All right, I'm going to be live for the next 14 minutes. When it hits past the hour, I'm going to end the stream, okay? So I'll answer as many questions as I can until then. Remember, super chats do get prioritized. Otherwise, we go in order. But I will only be answering questions for the next 14 minutes. Appreciate the likes. Appreciate the subs. The donations. You guys are awesome. All right. Zach of all trades said he has 3 concussions last year. Let's see. Let's see. Which running back Cooper says am I running this week? Ford, Najee, Hubbard, and White. If that's Zamir White, we're definitely not playing him. I would be starting over these options Jerome Ford. Reed and Pickens for Debo. I'm fine with Debo there. Dom, what's up, brother? He says, so glad I have Achane and Cook. Let's see here. Ben says Cooper. Okay, he's answering a question. Josh says I have HM both leagues, and the one player I openly said I was upset I didn't get was James Cook. That it happens, man. Scott says considering dropping Caleb to stash Jordan Whittington, I have Baker. Am I screwing up with the upside of Caleb? Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I need to see 3 games from Caleb before I drop him. 3 games. What did Stroud do in his first game? Do we remember? In Stroud's first game, he was 28 for 44 and 10 points. Bit early to panic on Caleb. To be honest, even if it was week 6 and he wasn't like killing it, I would say it's a little too early to panic on his career, but I would get it for fantasy football. Okay, next question is... Zach, who is the 2025 Dynasty 101 right now? I'd say it's probably Ashton Genty right now. That could change. And I have not been able to keep up with college football. I can't even lie. I have not been able to keep up. I love that, Josh. I love that. Love it, love it, love it. Is Zamir droppable if he has another bad game? I don't know about droppable. Zamir is just like, he's a name that... Zamir is a name that you can only play in positive game scripts, and I don't know that there will be many positive game scripts moving forward. I'm going to go Terry McLaurin over Sutton. Waddle's dead to me, but Aki says. Large Turkey says, start Rice or Nico Collins. I'm going to go Nico Collins, but they're literally back-to-back in my rankings. They both should be started. Clarence says, rate the wide receiver core in a 10-team league. Justin, Debo, Pittman, Keenan. It looks good. Definitely looks good. I mean, Brandon Cooks isn't someone I'd flex about, but I definitely love the core of Justin, Jefferson, Debo. I'm not the biggest Pittman guy, to be honest. I drafted like Rashee Rice over Pittman all year. But it's too early to say if that was right or wrong. Crooner says I just traded Tyre. Okay, we saw that. We saw that. You're good. You're good. You're good. Okay, Style says, Zach, I know we're worried about Pickens this week, but should I start Singletary over him? No, I'm going to start George Pickens. Traded Worthy and Mason for more. Traded Worthy and Mason for more. Traded Worthy. Yeah, okay, so for DJ Moore, yeah, I don't mind that. I like that idea. Trade Eckler for Warren. Those guys I would view very similarly rest of the year. I don't have a strong opinion. I'm going to go Ford over Terry this week. Just traded Tyreek for Garrett Wilson and Monty. We talked about that one. Yeah, not much. Not a big Josh Allen game, guys, but can't always expect him to go for 30, you know. Let's see. What's up, Massey? He says, hey, man, I want to waiver Polk on my bench. Is Dowdle, Kirk, Ford, Bigsby, Ridley? I wouldn't drop any of those names for Polk. I definitely want to roster him, but I wouldn't drop those names. It sounds like you got a maybe a smaller league with smaller benches. Should I trade Cup for CMC and DK? Well, that's interesting. Yes, if you can have it accepted next week. Because we don't want to lose Cooper Kupp this week. We want to win this week. All right, I'm answering questions for the next 8 minutes, guys. When it's past the hour, I'm done. It is Friday afternoon here, and I'm, going to go do my thing. A little R&R before the weekend. Might play some college football. Might go get a little boba tea or something. We're going to try and enjoy ourselves a little before the chaos continues. I have been nonstop making content this entire week. It doesn't end. It doesn't end. I do not stop talking about football. I love it. Daniel Hart, thank you for the donation, man. We'll answer questions until the top of the hour. Super chats do get prioritized. He says, I had love with Tua. I also had Hill as my number 1 pick. Oh, brother. Somebody help me. Oh. That's painful. What do I do? Well, if you believe in God, pray to him. If you believe in science, cook up a concoction in the lab. Feed it to your friends and trade with them once they're under that concoction. Honestly, that sounds awful. That sounds awful, Daniel. I can't say more than I'm absolutely sorry. Well, logistically, what you got to do is hold Jordan Love, because he should be back. You can shop Tyreek Hill, but as I said in the Flock League, I'm getting terrible offers. I wanted to show you guys that, to tell you that it's probably not a good time to sell Tyreek Hill. And then, this is funny, Mason is in the chat with us now. Mason, send me an offer for Tyreek Hill. I want the people to see. I want the people to see that you can't sell Tyreek Hill right now. Send me that offer so I can show them. I want them to see the only way you sell Tyreek Hill is by getting destroyed in a trade. Hollywood and Javonte. Could you add a starter at any position in that trade by chance? You have like any starter on your team for any team that you could potentially add in that deal? You guys are funny. All right, we are answering questions from top to bottom. Super chats get prioritized, otherwise I'm going in order. And the next question I can see in order is maybe Jackie. Shout out to Jackie. Jackie Chan says also need 2 of Judy, Lazard, Bateman, and Osborne. Holy hell, Jackie. Is that a joke? Sorry. None of you are as down bad as Jackie right now. You need to look yourselves in the mirror and say, I'm not Jackie today. Jackie's deciding between Jerry Judy, Alan Lazard, Rashad Bateman, and KJ Osborne. The name KJ Osborne is in the chat right now, y'all. You need to be grateful. Wake up. Look at how bad it could be. I just realized I have to answer this question. We're going to go Jerry Judy. Got into the end zone last week. Good amount of targets. Yeah. Good luck. Good luck. Jeff says, if CMC and Kenneth Walker are out, should I start Jordan Mason or Charbonnet? I'd be going Jordan Mason there. I think he's a must start if CMC's out. Top 12 play. Let's see. Alex says, was offered London and ETN for Hill. That's not a half bad offer. I'm going to say the same thing I've been saying, Alex, though. Like, if the reality is, if Tua is back like week 4 or 5, you will regret trading away Tyreek Hill. You will 100% regret it. However, if Tua is out for the year, you would have wished you took that trade. And that's the reality. That is the world we're living in. That is the dimension we're currently in. It really is. And if anybody is just joining us, we looked at splits with and without Tua for these receivers in Miami. You can see Jalen Waddle without Tua is averaging under 11 points per game. With him, almost 16. We also did this for Tyreek Hill. And if I can show you. Okay, come on. Come on. With Tyreek Hill, he is averaging almost 23 points per game with Tua. Without Tua, around 16. So it certainly is a difference without Tua. If anybody's out there telling you like it's not going to make a difference, it will. It just will. Okay, Rob says, Bill, I just shut down Tyreek too. Okay. Josh says, primarily super flex leagues, but if you have room and need a high upside stash, Penix, yep. I 100% agree. We talked about that on the stash video this week. 10-man full PPR redraft says trade Gibbs for AJ Brown. Gibbs for AJ Brown. My other running backs are Breece, Monty Ford. Wide receivers are Debo, Ridley, Higgins. I'm fine with that. I think AJ Brown's a fine trade target there. All right, I think the next question is David. Flowers and Jason for Cup. Give me Cup by a landslide. And by the way, I'm assuming you're not talking Dynasty. So yeah, we'll take Cup by a million. Let's see. Laporta and Mason for Hill. Yeah, I'll take Tyreek Hill at that price. Frankie says Etienne, Jones, and Ford start 2. London, Godwin, Jason, Pickens, Brian Thomas. As of now, it's London and Godwin, and that's where I would go myself. Wait, am I starting 2 running backs here as well? If that's the question, I would go Etienne and Jones. I know Jones has a tough matchup. And then, yeah, I'd go London and Godwin as well. No, you go A-Rich, guys. If you have A-Rich, you got to start him. Mountain Shoutman been holding it down. Casey says Commanders defense is a joke. Casey, I've been saying that for 2 weeks in a row now. On all of our start sit videos, I've been begging people to start all of their players against the Commanders. Chris Godwin was one of my starts of the week last week. We're not good. We are not a good secondary. Probably the worst secondary in the NFL. All right, that is 3 minutes past the hour, guys. Appreciate you big time. Like I said, it is Friday afternoon here, and we are going to call it. Here's what I will say is if you do have any pressing questions and you just need them answered, we have a fantastic resource for you over on the Flock Fantasy website. Okay. You can ask a question at any time with the link that I just put in the chat. It'll also be in the pinned comment later on if you'd like to use it. If let's say I end the stream and you want to ask a question in 10 minutes, I'll reply to you straight away if you'd like. Just when you submit the question, all I need from you is to tell me if you want it answered right now or on the stream. We do have some super chats, so I will answer these super chats as long as they last, and then I'm logging off. Big South says, "Who could I safely trade Hill for? I have Nico Worthy." I guess is the question. Dude, the thing is, how far down are you going with Tyreek if you own him? Like, I don't think... If I could get Cooper Kupp for Tyreek Hill, I would be really interested in that. If I can get CeeDee Lamb, obviously. Amon-Ra is interesting. Garrett Wilson plus something. We saw someone got Garrett Wilson and Monty earlier. That's super intriguing. I think those are the kind of deals you should be pursuing. Jefferson plus something. Garrett Wilson plus something. Although I will say, I think most people would not do that trade right now because they are worried about Tyreek Hill, and rightfully so, you know. But like the reality is, you're not going to trade Tyreek Hill for like what, Brandon Ayuk? You're not going to do that. You're not going to trade him for Neighbors, Olave, Smith, Metcalf, Adams, DJ Moore, London. Like, you're just not going to do that. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Appreciate the donation. And probably the last super chat of the night is from PM Chunk. Shout out to you, Chunk. Deontay Johnson or JSN? This week, I'm going to have to rock with Deontay Johnson. I am desperately hoping that my beautiful JSN recovers. He was playing in 2 wide receiver sets, which was good to see. But as of right now, he's not a startable name. Good thing to note, by the way, Deontay Johnson, it was terrible, but he had a 35% target share before he left this game in the third quarter. So it's something to note. It still looks like Deontay could drown in targets. We just need Carolina to get 5% better every game. Is that possible? We'll see. But he had a 35% target share before he left the game in the third quarter. So I'm going to go Deontay Johnson. And then probably the last super chat of the night is from Proofy. He says, what's for dinner tonight? I love you. I love you, Proofy. We got this mad Greek restaurant that is banging. I'll probably go Greek. Bro, let me tell you something. Some tzatziki. Oh my gosh. Tzatziki is next level. That's probably where I'm going to go, actually. Y'all making me hungry right now. I'll show you. Oh boy. Look at, oh my goodness. Sheesh. Yeah, let's have a little geese, shall we? They got really great fries. Their fries are unreal. I'll probably go get this classic Greek wrap. Maybe put a little halloumi in there. And get some tzatziki on the side. Boy. We're going to eat right. And that's gluten-free, dairy-free too. As long as you... Well, tzatziki is technically not dairy-free, but you can make substitutions. Anyway. That's it, guys. Really appreciate you hanging out with us. I'm sorry if you started Tyreek Hill like myself. Not the start to the week you wanted. And, hey, have a good night. We'll see you soon. All love. Later.